because Serie B is it's a wild league and a lot of things go on. So
it's a wild league. Well said. And I'm sure we'll have a lot of. We're gonna laugh a lot about our predictions.
Guaranteed to be wrong. Let's just
absolutely 100%.
Cittadella are the only team in Veneto for this season because Vicenza failed to get promoted. Venezia went up to Serie A.
I would be happy with Carrarese and Reggiana being last and second to last. We are going to be touching upon each and every one of the teams on the league, so stay with us, interact with us, and together we're going to be speaking Serie B. Roma! Welcome to the 5th episode of Speaking Serie B. Together here with me is Jake Jovine. Please, Jake, introduce yourself.
Well, good evening to you, Ilya, from over in Hungary. Really excited to be back here. Serie B is back finally. It feels like international breaks are always very, very long, especially since it's only been 4 games into the season. It's good to finally be back speaking Serie B. So
Indeed. So normally we're speaking about Serie B from the US, but now, yes, I'm in Europe after being in Italy. I'm in Hungary, as you said, visiting my wife's side of the family. And actually Italy played here in Budapest and Hungary is going to be playing here on Tuesday. But let's talk about Serie B because we had the possibility to make our predictions on 2 rounds during our previous episode, and we have a lot of stuff to go through. But first, I would like you to tell us about what happened between Cittadella and Pisa.
Oh boy, yeah. So it's, we could. I mean, I kind of made a whole podcast about this, and if you've been following us on Instagram, Twitter, you could. Like what had happened these past 2 weeks. But basically what happened was Cittadella played Pisa. That was the game that we covered in our last episode, giving our predictions for that game. The home opener for Cittadella Pisa, that ended in a 1-1 draw. I believe it was August 27th, if I'm got my date correct. August 27th, 1-1 draw. But a few days later, Pisa came out with an appeal that Cittadella fielded an ineligible player. That was Jacopo De Sogus. He came in the 71st minute, and Pisa were claiming that De Sogus did not appear on the official match sheet. I don't know. I forgot like the exact word you call it in Italian. It's like the destinagara, I think.
La lista, the list of the players. Yeah, I don't know how. Listino gara, maybe. I don't know.
Before an hour before the game, like they usually release it for those who was on the bench. For some reason, De Sogus was not listed on the bench. Now, Cittadella were saying it was a mistake. They reported it to the referee, and I believe there was like a Primavera player that was on the bench in place of De Sogus for whatever reason. So a few days later, Pisa did come out with an appeal. On the official Serie B website, on the disciplinary report, they did not officially recognize the result. So there was like a lot of doubt. The result had not been confirmed by Lega B. And so this got dragged out a lot. Pisa and Cittadella presented their appeals. And then last Thursday, the sporting judge did rule that there was not enough to overturn this result. So it stays at 1-1. Very, from a Cittadella standpoint, I think they got away with it. And for Pisa, I believe they're going to be doing another appeal, which should come out in early October, late September. Because they're going to be appealing. You know how it is in Italy. There's so many levels of court, and so expect this to go on for a while. But basically, the sporting judge found that Cittadella did in fact make a mistake. Even Guarini, our head coach, did say that we did make a mistake. They only reported the mistake to the referee 14 minutes after the game had started, so at 8:44. local time, that's when they presented it and they substituted it. Pisa got the memo, or they got the list before halftime. De Sogus came in the second half. He didn't score, he didn't assist. The game ended 1-1. So the sporting judge did rule that there was not enough to overturn this result as a Tavolino, which was a 3-0
Right.
result for Pisa. As of right now, because as I just said,
They're gonna try again.
Pisa are probably going to be appealing again for this result. So we'll keep you up to date. But for now, it stays at 1-1.
If we want to know more about it, we should be listening to your podcast, right? So tell us, where can we find the podcast where you explain these thoroughly?
Yes. So every week, Cheat the Calcio USA show, it's available on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcast, anywhere you could really imagine, even on YouTube at Cheat Calcio USA show. We've been uploading them there frequently now, so go give it a look. And we're going to be having guests on in the future as well. We occasionally have them, but none for this week. So be prepared for that. We got a podcast upcoming soon, previewing the game this weekend against Catanzaro.
Nice. That's actually how we met. You invited me to participate to your program, so that's how this whole thing started. So thank you very much.
Yeah, well, I was amazed that there was a Spezia fan in Florida. I was like, oh my God, this is like groundbreaking, because there's
cool.
Especially like when they're in Serie B, obviously, like Italian fans, they're
Right.
everywhere. But following a team from Serie B, we share like a lot of our struggles, especially with finding the stream. So like
right, absolutely, especially this season, right? That there was some difficulties on that end. Since you mentioned it, I would like to comment with you the current standings of the Serie B league after 4 games, when we reached the first pause for the Nationals game. Pisa, if you were to win whatever they are, how do you call it? Il ricorso.
Like the repeal, or they're
okay, the repeal. Okay, they would be the only team actually leading with some lead, while currently they have 8 points. They would have 10 points, and they would be leading solely. But as of right now, the 1-1 with Cittadella stands, and we currently have 3 teams leading the standings: Pisa, Juve Stabia, and Spezia Calcio. Oh my! I would have never imagined that, but I would have never imagined to see Juve Stabia up there. So do you have anything to comment about these first 3 teams leading the table?
If you remember, everyone, that we did not make there was actually 2, we previewed 2 match days because there was one midweek, and then we didn't do one last week because there was an international break, obviously. So a lot has happened since then. Like you said, Spezia, I think, are much improved from last season. I think we could talk about the game in a little bit, but maybe the fortunes are starting to change in your favor a little bit with these late goals and maybe
late comebacks.
But definitely, Juve Stabia, really impressive so far. This they were playing in Piacenza for their game against Mantova, which I thought was going to be a risky move, but they ended up winning that. I believe I saw their stadium is ready for their game this week against Palermo, so they're back home. But yeah, I mean, I'm really, really surprised, and this was, we were all talking about Juve Stabia going right back down, and look at them. They're up there. They're in second place. So this is really the beauty of Serie B. Anything could really happen.
Indeed.
And even like on the bottom end of the table, you got Frosinone, you got Palermo, Bari, Sampdoria, like all teams that
we'll go through it briefly. We'll go through it briefly.
But these teams that we were expecting to be up there in the place of UE Stabia, Spezia, Reggiana.
And only 4 games have been
Oh
played.
yeah,
So it's Serie B is a marathon, and a lot of things are going to change. But in the
oh yeah,
meantime,
absolutely.
these are definitely surprises. And if you guys want to know what our predictions have been for these for the final standings of this Serie B season, we invite you to check out the video that you can find in on both of our YouTube channels. And the links to all our social media are in the description of this video as well. So scrolling down the table, even Mantova at the 5th place with 7 points in 4 games together with Reggiana and Cittadella is one of the surprises, I guess, because I didn't give Mantova much credit either. Then following down, we have Cremonese, Cesena, Salernitana, Südtirol, and Brescia at 6 points. I saw Cesena play in La Spezia with Spezia, and is a very difficult team to play against, especially at the beginning of the game when they are fully energized, because they play a very active game, a very active football, very athletic. And then when they start to pay for all the energy that they spent, it becomes easier to play them. But until they got energy, they don't let you play. We couldn't do anything. They were running double the speed than our players. And we've been lucky, I must say, that the second goal, because they gained the lead 1-0, and then the second goal scored by Simone Bastoni from La Spezia, ex-Spezia player, got erased. They removed the goal. How do you say that, Jay?
VAR. They canceled, the goal.
They canceled the goal. Otherwise, we would have seen a completely different game. We were able in the second half, we deserved the goal of the 1-1. And then at the very last action, Spezia gained the lead and won again, coming back like he did with Frosinone, always in Alberto Pico, scoring the 3 points. Tell us your interpretation of the most recent game of Cittadella, and then we'll finish to comment the standings, and we'll move on with the analysis of our previous predictions.
Yeah, so, I mean, I already said that 1-1 result with Pisa, that was kind of, a lot of things happened in that game. But the following few days later, on Saturday, Cittadella went to Modena to get a 1-0 victory in Modena, courtesy of a goal from Mario Ravasio. His first goal, actually, of his Serie B career. This was the first time Cittadella won in Modena since 1999.
Wow.
Yeah, and actually the first time they had beaten Modena since 2011. So they broke, I think it was a 11-game winless run against Modena in all competitions. So
I love that you know all these stats. It's awesome. How can you remember it all? Awesome.
Well, yeah, I mean, the numbers might be slightly off, but that's kind of like generally. I know, for a fact, Cittadella had not beaten Modena since 2011. That was over a decade ago. So really, really impressive performances. 2 back-to-back results on the road against 2 very difficult teams to play against Brescia and against Modena. And to come out with 1-0 wins, I got to say, they got to be happy with that. Yes, I talked about in the podcast, yes, maybe Cittadella are riding their luck a lot in these opening games, because there was a lot of instances where maybe Modena or Brescia should have equalized or should have gotten the goal. But at the end of the day, they're getting the job done. It's already 2 wins on the road. That's half of what they got last season on the road. They only got 4 wins on the road last season, and they already got 2. And they were both in August. So, you got to be happy with this.
Absolutely. And it is the 3rd consecutive positive result. 2 wins and a draw in between. So that's great.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for that late collapse in Salerno, they would have been undefeated and possibly in the top 2.
Right. I was trying to get back to the standings. We'll get there in a second. Yeah, no, absolutely. As I said, I did not expect to see Spezia at the top of the table. did you expect that Cittadella would have been at the current position at the sixth place with 7 points after the first four games?
I think it's always hard to say what because it is obviously 4 games. It's still, what you call calcio de agosto, still like
Yeah, it doesn't mean
yet
much
to
yet. It's not that convincing
yeah.
just yet.
I
Yes,
mean, if you just look at the standings, 6 points, 7 points, the really one win could propel you into the playoffs and one loss could get you
absolutely.
down to the relegation at this point. So, still, I think Cittadella has to keep their feet on the ground a little bit. It is a good start, but they were in this position last season. So a lot can change. Definitely, I didn't expect 2 road wins to start the year. That's kind of something that surprised me. And then a draw against Pisa, or at least on the field, as of
Right.
right now, against Pisa, a good
It
side.
still stands. So,
Yeah, against we were talking about Pisa being a very good side. They're currently top of Serie B right now,
right, right here.
and I think they got to be happy with that. And I'm I wouldn't say like I'm super super shocked because I've seen Cittadella be in this position before,
Hmm.
and I know a lot could change from now. So
Right. Last season, you even reached second position, if I'm not mistaken, at a certain point, right?
for a moment, I believe it was actually third.
Ah, okay.
They beat
Hmm.
Palermo in January, and then that
Right.
was the last game before the monumental 8-game losing streak.
Right.
Which was,
Unbelievable. It seemed never to end. It's the only um, football team that would have not sent away the coach. Like it was any other team would have sent away the coach. I
Mhm.
think it would have
Yeah,
replaced the coach. So.
that's what Guarini was talking about in the press conference. I believe it was against Modena, where he was saying like Cittadella is a very different club, and
Mhm.
there's like a lot of trust between the manager, between the sporting director with the club.
For sure, it felt that way for Mirko Antonucci as well because he never performed like he did in Cittadella anywhere else as of right now. So
And
anyhow,
he
let's
he,
move on. Sorry, go ahead.
he returned to the Alberto Pico against for Cesena for
Yes,
the
and he
game.
was like he wasn't even there.
Do,
No, I
did,
didn't. No, he performed really poorly, and it's okay. It
was
doesn't
there
deserve to be
was there a lot
mentioned.
of fisky? Was there like a lot of whistles?
I wasn't there, but that's what I heard. Yes, like he
Yeah.
couldn't even. Yes, yes, yes. Anyhow, let's move on with commenting the standings, and then we'll analyze our previous predictions of the previous two rounds. So we were down to the 11th place with Brescia, if I'm not mistaken, and right after Brescia with 5 points is Catanzaro and Sassuolo. While Catanzaro doesn't surprise me, also because they changed the coach, Sassuolo is one of those teams that I was expecting to struggle, as I said in the prediction. But being a relegated team from the major league, this is the proof of how difficult Serie B is. Then Modena in 14th place with 4 points, and then Palermo. Palermo, I said in the prediction, I honestly thought that it was one of those teams that was going to kill the championship, and here it is after 4 games with 4 points in 4 games. Then Frosinone with 3, Carrarese with 3, Sampdoria with 2, Bari with 2, Cosenza with only 1 point, but they should be 5 points. They've been they're not Sampdoria, so since they didn't have their accountability set
Well,
up correctly, they
that's
got
another thing
penalized.
we forgot to mention. Like
Please,
a
please,
lot has changed in less than 2 weeks. Cosenza actually
right,
deducted 4 points for financial issues, so they currently
right,
stand with only one, even though they theoretically should have 5.
right. Indeed. Financial issues that some other teams are allowed to have while Cosenza got penalized. I'm sorry for Alvini. I'm sorry for Alvini. Hey, we are supporters here. We can talk. We can say whatever we want, right? You don't agree?
Well, I don't know. It's a complicated issue. There's
It
a
is.
lot
It
of,
is.
I like the Pisa. There's like a lot of outrage within the Pisa fan base, which I understand. From a neutral point of view, I definitely, I could see their frustration. I understand why they are upset about this result, and I think rightfully so. They're going to be appealing. Cittadella did make a mistake in the end. Whether or not it was enough to affect the outcome of the result, that's that's up for debate. That's what the sporting judge thought, but I guess we'll see in these next few weeks what's going to really happen.
You're right. I have to keep in mind that you have a more professional take, a more journalistic approach to what we are doing, and I respect that. I understand.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Like I want to see Cittadella do well, but at the same time, I'm always keeping an open mind. I'm always analyzing from a neutral view.
Right. No, I understand. I was referring about all the economical, financial issues that Sampdoria has, and
that's a topic for another day. Really, we could go on forever for that.
Indeed. So here is what I prepared. It's very homemade as of right now. We'll see if in the future my wife can help me to create something a bit more futuristic, a bit more contemporary. But this is what I created to sum up our previous predictions and standings of our results, those that we got right. So basically, in column A, you'll see all the games. Column B is the actual results of those games. And here are our predictions. In black are the prediction that I made. This is sort of a pink. I should improve the color, but the alternative didn't allow me to show. It didn't look like. Which color do you prefer? I'll change it later, but is this color good enough, or do you like it more bright?
I like the pinkish, like the one that's already set on the column.
Okay, perfect. I should have asked you before we started the live, but I didn't think about it.
Okay. So it's that's a good color because it's not too dark. We could see it clearly distinct from.
That's what I thought. Perfect. I'm glad you agree. And then here are the standings. Of course, after round one, let me go. I got 2 right, and Jake got 4 right. So the standing is pretty obvious, 4-2. After round 2, and you can find the predictions on the previous episodes of this playlist. As you can see, column B, the real results, C and D are our predictions, and then the standing, the score of that week, of that round, and then the standing. I caught up a point on Jake. I got 4, and he got 3 right, and the standing showed 7 points for Jake and 6 for myself. Now, before revealing the results of the third round, let's go through one by one, 2 by 2, a couple at a time.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we could do that.
Awesome. Sorry, perfect. So start. No, don't worry about it. Okay, so would you like? I'm gonna keep this on. I'm not gonna share the Google page until we go to the next round where we're going to make a new prediction. We're just gonna read the results that we got right and wrong.
Perfect.
Do you mind reading them and tell me when it's right and when it's wrong so that I can deal with the behind the scene effects?
so you want me to explain the results? So like Frosinone Modena, what was the outcome?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, exactly.
All right. So Frosinone Modena, this was round 3. So it was starting on the midweek matches. Frosinone Modena, that ended in a 1-1 draw. So X happened.
Right here. Oh. But we'll leave this for our next prediction. That was an X. And your prediction was?
My prediction was, we both said it was going to be a Frosinone win. So we both said 1, which did not happen.
Were both wrong. I just want to use these things.
Yeah, well, anyone that's watching, please let us know what you think of those.
Yeah, maybe it's too loud. My wife told me it's too loud, but I like to keep people attention. Then moving on with the second game of round 3.
Brescia, that was ended in a Reggiana victory. You said Reggiana, I said Brescia. So 1 point for Elia.
All right.
Well done.
I'm having a lot of fun. All right, then down another 2 games. Go ahead.
So, Carrarese Südtirol. Carrarese, congrats to them. They got their first victory in however long they've been out of Serie B. I think it was like 70 years or something like that.
Yeah.
So congrats to them. They got a 2-0 win against Südtirol. We did not get any points on this. I said that it was going to be a draw, and you said it was going to be a Südtirol victory. So nothing for that. Salernitana Sampdoria ended in a Salernitana victory, 3-2 at the Ireki. Let's see. Elia, you said Salernitana. I said Sampdoria. So another point for Elia.
All right. I'm gonna stop for now with all these. Or do you want me to use them?
Well, how about whoever wins this mini round in round 3?
All right. Okay, so then I move 3. There you go. These 3.
Cremonese Palermo ended in a Palermo victory. Elia, you said X. I said Palermo victory. So 1 for me.
Good job.
Cittadella Pisa. Well, this was X on the field and 1-1 draw, at least on the field. I did say it was going to be a draw. Elia, you said it was a Pisa victory. So another point for me. And it looks like Bari, Sassuolo, we both agreed it was going to be a draw, and it did end up being a draw. So 1 point for each of us.
All right.
Nice. And
So
I think
I'm scoring them correct. Yes, but okay, perfect. Then moving down. So, go ahead.
Note, I forgot Sampdoria did sack Pirlo after that game against Salernitana. So Pirlo is no longer the coach of Sampdoria.
All right. I just wanted to read this comment from Nicolas Stratiota. Ciao Nicolas, carissimo. Hey Nicolas, because he also follows the lives and he speaks also English. So good evening. I speak English, the South African. Awesome. It's always English. So thank you for being here with us. And in a minute or two, we're going to be making our predictions for round 5. So we invite you to interact with us and share your thoughts and your predictions on the round to be.
Perfect.
Go ahead, Jake.
All right, so leading off, we were at Juve Stabia Mantova. Juve Stabia getting the victory. We both said Mantova for this, so we get 0. Cosenza Spezia. You were very confident in Spezia. You said 2, I said an X, and it did end up being a draw. So X for
Good
me,
job.
1 point again. Cesena Catanzaro. Cesena getting a home win. Speziato Elia, you said as a draw, and I said Cesena victory. So another point for me. Wow, I didn't realize like how many I'm getting. So that was the end of.
And this is the result. I started really strong. I got the first 3, actually the first 2. Then we got 1 together, and then you outperform me again, 3-5. And here is the standings after round 3. You're leading by 3 points, 12-9. Good job. Seriously.
Wow.
I'm scoring some, but I can't catch up.
Maybe I should just be I should be like a what's it, the guy in the casino doing all these betting. So.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called. I don't know. I've never been a gambler, so I don't know.
Me neither. So, well, I mean, I can't gamble, so. But anyway, yeah.
You're welcome, right, Nicholas? Awesome. No, thank you for being with us and sharing your passion and interacting with us, making this live even more interesting. So moving on with the predictions we made on round 4. Here are the first 2. We can continue with this setup, but like 4 at a time. And please go ahead, Jake.
Well, Sampdoria Bari, a 0-0 draw. It was X. We both said Sampdoria was going to be victorious, so 0 points for that. Let me see. Big X for that. Pisa Reggiana. Pisa ended up getting a victory. We both agreed Pisa was going to win, so 1 for each.
All right.
I'm not going to do it every time, I promise. I'm going to hold back now, I promise.
Sassuolo, Cremonese victory. I said Cremonese, you said Sassuolo. So it's another point for Jake.
Indeed.
Südtirol Brescia getting away victory. No points for each of us because I said it was going to be a 2-0 victory, and Elia, you said it was going to be a draw. So 0 for that. Modena, Cittadella getting a victory. We both agreed that it was going to be a draw. So once again, 0 blank for that game. Frosinone, Juve Stabia, another goalless draw. We both said it was going to be a Frosinone win, and that did not happen. So another 0. Man, this is not getting off to a good start for this round 4.
And it's Serie B. It's really difficult.
Now, let's see. Mantova, Salernitana.
We missed this one as well.
Yeah, another one. Mantova getting a victory. Elia, you said Salernitana. I said draw. 0.
3 missed in a row. He deserves an next.
Yeah, let's keep it going.
In the meantime, there is Nicholas who keeps on writing. Thank you, Nicholas. He writes, Maya Bronzatura, what people the South Africa, the Cape Town beach. My black face? Man, what people decide? I don't understand it. I'm sorry. I represent South Sudan and South Africa and Czech Republic, Africa. Awesome. Thank you for being here. But you speak good Italian as well, because I remember you participating to some of our live reactions, lives during the game. So I'm sure you're bilingual at least. Sorry, carry on, Jake. I just wanted to give visibility to who's commenting our live.
All good.
Spezia Cesena.
Spezia Cesena. That was victory for Spezia. So you get 1 and I get 0 because I said it was going to be a draw. I was almost. Spezia winning.
Right.
So 1 for you.
For a matter of seconds.
Palermo Cosenza, that ended up being a draw. I did get this one correct. You said it was going to be Palermo victory, so that's another point for me.
I give too much credit to Palermo, indeed.
And then finally, we got Catanzaro, Cardadese. Catanzaro getting a victory. We both agreed on that, so we both get 1 each. So the final standings of this round, I just get 1 more. I got 4 correct. You got 3. So close. And the current standings looks like Città USA 16 points and Speziato in 12 points.
Indeed. Exactly. So moving on to, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope I can come up with something better, more visually pleasant. This is the best that I could come up with this afternoon. So we'll see. Maybe if somebody's following it now or later, they can tell us on the links, giving us some links to platforms where we can create similar things. This is the best that I can do as of today. So
all good.
All right. I'm glad you appreciate it. Thank you, Jake, for your support. So we do not have the results of the upcoming round 5, of course, but we know the games and we can make our predictions. I'm going to leave these open so that I can fill them in as we go, if you don't mind. And please, call the game and I'll write it down.
Cesena Modena. So this is the Friday game. Cesena coming off just a heartbreaking loss, I'd say, in La Spezia. But I think they'll get their act together. I'm going to go with a Cesena victory here. I'll say 2-1 victory. So
2-1 victory. So for you is 1 prediction, right?
Yes, 1.
Right here. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to be writing 1 for Città Calcio USA. And as far as I'm concerned, Modena lost. What did they do in the previous game? Modena is in 14th place with 4 points.
Modena.
And in the previous game,
they lost to Cittadella.
They lost with Cittadella, of course. I'm going to go with an X also because I don't want to give the same prediction. Otherwise, we're not, our standings is not going to change. So I'm going to say X. I've already written it down. So we move on. Sorry, it's the wrong X. This is the X I wanted to push. I apologize, guys, for the noise. And we're moving on to the next game, which is Bari Mantova. Bari Mantova, I'm gonna say 1, and I'm gonna be confident about Bari coming back from this obscene start to the season. How about you, Jake? So
Yeah,
I
I
am going
mean,
to
I
say
know
1.
I know we're not really, supposed to agree with these results, but I do I mean, Bari has to win this, I think.
Yeah.
After a break, they kinda get a little bit of a rest, playing against Mantova, which we've seen that they've been a good start to this season, but I just think, the Bari are playing at home. I think they should win this, so I'm gonna say 1 as well.
Okay. So unfortunately, we agree, but this is what the predictions is about. It doesn't matter. I wanted to encourage Nicholas, who's writing about the South African teams, which I know nothing about, to please share his predictions about round 5. Should he be interested in speaking Serie B with us, which is what we're here for? So moving on to the next game, it's your prediction to begin. So Juve Stabia Palermo.
Interesting game. Juve Stabia, I believe, are getting back to their own stadium. I believe I did see a report that it's all set to go, so they're going to be having their home opener. I'm going to say an X for this. I'm going to say a draw. I think Juve Stabia will have enough to have Palermo. Palermo still, I'm still some uncertainty there. I think a draw is fair in this.
All right. I honestly don't know what to think because Juve Stabia is like Catanzaro last season, actually even better as of right now. And it's the first game, as you said, with their supporters. I don't even know how many supporters there are, but for sure they have a lot of enthusiasm, even the players. And Palermo is really in a tough spot. I like Palermo. I mean, I saw financially strong. I'm gonna say 2. I'm gonna gamble on this one with a 2,
I
and
could see
so that
that.
we're not on the same page. So let's see what Nicholas wrote. South Africa Club Spezia in Ferrari. Comacchio Country C, Adriatic Beach for me. Okay, sure. Let us know what your predictions for round 5 could be. And in the meantime, we move on with the next game, which is Cittadella Catanzaro. Now, I know you are sort of scaramantic, right? You don't want to predict Cittadella winning, but I think that as of right now, at least, Cittadella is a stronger team than Catanzaro. So I'm going to go with, I messed up. I'm going to go with a 1. Let's see if I can correct this. Perfect. I'm going to put 1 here and 1 here, and your turn.
All right, so Catanzaro, Cittadella. It's another home game for Cittadella against. I think definitely this is a definitely winnable game for uh, for Cittadella at home. The return of Pitarello, which was one of Cittadella's main goal scorers, main players last season, coming back to the Tombolotto after his move to Catanzaro. I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna say 1 for once. I actually think Cittadella is gonna win the game. So
All right.
I feel confident about their way they're playing right now. They're playing at home. I think 1.
All right. Perfect. So we're moving on to Brescia Frosinone, and is your prediction to start with.
Brescia Frosinone. This is a big game for both sides, I believe. Brescia did lose back-to-back games, and then they got a road win in Bolzano against Südtirol. Frosinone needs to kickstart it, but I'm actually going to say Brescia in the. I don't. I caught myself there. I don't know. See, like I could see this going other. I'm gonna say X for this. I'll say.
I wanted to say X.
I'll say X. I'll say X.
Awesome.
I changed
Sure.
my mind
Okay.
because I just Frosinone, like I expect them to eventually climb up, but I don't against Brescia. That's a difficult team, difficult place to play. I'll say X. For
Okay, I'm gonna say X because that's what I wanted to say. I'm gonna stick to it, and we'll move on to the next one, which is Cremonese Spezia. Oh, ma. So we had the chance to talk with. Sorry, go ahead.
This is a tough one.
It is. It is. So yesterday we had the day before yesterday, Monday night. Of course, we had the episode of Spazio al Prossimo, and the protagonist of Spazio al Prossimo explained us that Cremonese has a plan. They have a pact in between the players. They want to reach the major league no matter what. So it's a really difficult game. They have a new striker. They're very happy about it, his performance and all. They just won with Sassuolo 4-1 on an away game. So
Yeah,
they must be
right.
pumped. I hope that Spezia continues with his undefeated result. Although even the two coaches, Stroppa is black sheep for D'Angelo, I heard. So I'm going to say X because I would like us to keep the English average. How do you call it, Jake? The English average when you win at home and you draw away. How do you call it?
I don't know if we have a word for that.
Okay.
That's
We
kind of
call
like
it la media
that's a good
inglese.
baseline. That's a good baseline for, any team that like wants to be above, like fighting for Serie A, like you guys or like Cremonese. If you win your home games, if you get a draw on the road, that's usually a good formula to
maintain the team undefeated. So for me, Cremonese Spezia is an X. You're up.
Oh man, so yeah, like you said, Cremonese I think has one of the strongest rosters in Serie B. Just they have a really, really good squad. Stropa knows how to get the team promoted there to Serie A. And if you remember last season, Cremonese also started the season slowly, and they ended up reaching the playoff final. So
Right.
it's still, I think, regardless of the start, I think they are still gonna get it together. Just looking at their roster, it's really good, and I could definitely see them fighting for a top two. So for this, I'm sorry, Elia, but I'm gonna go for a Cremonese victory. I think at home, Spezia had a good start, but I think they will end up losing this. It's probably going to be a 1-0 game. Very close, but
Stroppa kind of results. Yes, yeah, Stroppa style. I understand. I don't blame you. I like to remain positive and hope for the best. But yeah, I can see that happening. So, and it wouldn't be too bad of a loss should that happen in Cremona on an away game. So it's all right. It would be acceptable. Next game to predict is Carrarese Sassuolo. You are up.
So I think on paper this should be definitely a very straightforward game for Sassuolo, but I don't think it will be. Sassuolo is another team where like I expect them to shoot up the table at any moment now, but they've already. If I bring up I've been keeping track of all the teams like I always do. Points dropped from a winning position. Sassuolo has already dropped quite a lot from a winning standpoint. 4 points they've lost already from winning positions. So for this, I want to say a Carrarese victory, but I'll say a draw for this. I think it'll be a little bit of a surprise.
For you.
Yeah.
I understand. Okay, so Carrarese plays in at home, but do they still play in Pisa?
Yeah, that's one thing that I did not know for sure. I haven't been really checking. I could check really quick. But
in the meantime, so I can read some of these comments from Nicholas. He writes, I like Spezia, Cremonese, Sassuolo, and Sampdoria. I don't like Bari and Mantova. You gotta pick one, Nicholas. Come on. I'm kidding. You do whatever you want. And then he writes that I don't like Juventus, Inter, and Milan. I like Venice and Como and Parma, Rome and Cagliari. You like a bunch of teams. That's cool. As long as, you follow what you love. There is no rules. So have fun, and thank you for sharing your passion with us. Go ahead, Jake.
Okay, so from what I've could just find really quickly, Tutto Marketo web says that Caradese will return to home against Mantova, which is scheduled to be
Okay,
on the weekend of October 18th. So still two more quote unquote home games away from home. So
got it.
it doesn't look like Caradese will be playing in Carrara.
Okay, okay. So I think I predicted Sassuolo to struggle. I don't really want Carrarese to win because it's good when there are those teams,
And
in the championship where there are those teams that have nothing to pretend at a certain point of the championship.
and
So
the
I don't
next
want them.
oh
Go
sorry
ahead.
the next week is the derby between you and Caradese.
Right, right. I'm already setting up I'm already preparing for Spazio al Prossimo. And yes, absolutely. So I'm going to say I'm not scaramantic, but you said X. And I'm going to say 1 for Carrarese Sassuolo, and we'll see what happens. So,
Bold prediction.
hopefully, yes, 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 yes. Hopefully, Sassuolo did not recover yet from this 4-1 loss with Cremonese. They are struggling. Carrarese plays at home, although it's in Pisa, and God knows, maybe they are pumped after their first victory. So X probably more realistic. I could also see Sassuolo win, but Carrarese, although it goes against having a dead team that has nothing to pretend at a certain point of the championship. Reggiana Sud-Tirol, that's another difficult game to predict because Reggiana is at the 4th place, is doing much better than I would have foreseen. Sud-Tirol comes from 2 wins and 2 losses. So I'm going to say that Reggiana is in a better shape at the moment. So I'm going to go for Reggiana win. So 1. How about you, Jake?
I haven't predicted any away teams to win this round, so I'll say Südtirol with the victory. So you could put a due there. I believe. Let me see. Let me pull up Reggiana's stats because if I remember, they did not have a good home record last season, and yes, only 3 home wins last season. So. I think that trend will continue, and Südtirol will get an away win.
All right. I predicted Südtirol to do a very bad championships this season. So I'm going to stick to that, and we'll see. In the meantime, Nicolas is going wild. He doesn't like Carrarese. He likes Cesena, and he likes Arezzo. But I don't know if he likes the cities or the teams. Reggiana and Südtirol, he doesn't like them. And he likes Lucchese, but he doesn't like Spal. All right. All right. So this is the last game. No, there is one more after this. Salernitana, Pisa. It's your game to predict first.
Okay. Man, this is another really hard one. Both teams. I'll go for a Pisa victory. This due.
Mm-hmm.
So another road victory. I think Pisa, once again, really good under Inzaghi. Going back, actually, he was the head coach of Salernitana for a little bit. Was it last season? Yeah, I think it was when they were still in Serie A. But Salernitana, I still don't know what they're going to do this season. So I'll just say Pisa for this.
Okay, I predicted Salernitana to struggle, so I could agree with your 2, but I do think that Pisa sooner or later will have to lose one. And Salernitana in Salerno is a very heated
definitely
stadium as well. So I'm going to go with a 1 on this one so that we can continue our game as well. Then it might be an X, but I'm going to predict 1. Salernitana with a home win, interrupting the positive streak of Pisa. And then lastly, the last game of round 5 is Cosenza-Sampdoria. We got Alvini on Cosena's bench. Sampdoria that really has to come up, and I do hope that Cosenza wins. So I'm gonna say 1.
Ooh, this is I mean, I I do talk to some Genoa fans and Cosenza fans. As you know, I don't know if you know, but Reggiana, not Reg. Why did I say Reggiana? Cosenza and Genoa have a really good gemellaggio. They have a really good friendship between the two fan
Mhm.
bases. So obviously, this is kind of like a Derby della Lanterna,
Hmm.
miniature one, with Cosenza being backed by Genoa against Sampdoria. Sampdoria obviously getting Tutino in the off season. So
Right, that too, that
I don't
too.
know. I don't know like what the mood is around there. So I don't know if they're gonna boo him. Like Spezia did with
I think
Antonucci.
so because I mean I'm not too much into Cosenza's world, but it's one of the realities that I have better connections with. And although I might be mistaken, I think they really wanted him to stay. He was like a star player, and
And
when
yeah,
the team, la società bought him, they really thought that they bought him to keep him. Instead, even the manager of the player said that he's ready for the Serie A or is going to leave for a team that is going to have higher chances to go to Serie A. And there you have it.
yeah,
Sampdoria at the bottom of the table as of right now, although they started really bad even last season and then they ended up being in the playoffs. So we'll
yeah.
see. I think they're not, is not going to be welcome. I'm done.
I mean, yeah, like I could have sworn I saw like earlier this summer, Cosenza buying Tutino from Parma for permanently. So definitely full contract, and then he joins Sampdoria like a month later.
Yeah, probably
Uh,
they probably did it to monetize. Like they made maybe a couple of millions on the trade. I don't know. I don't know. Now,
of
I think that they sold it for more than what they bought it for from
Yeah,
Parma.
or he could still be on loan from Cosenza, but anyway, that's not the point here. So yeah,
Mhm.
Tutino really a lethal goal scorer. He had 20 goals last season for Cosenza. Um, so I think this is going to be a kind of a heated match, just given the reasons that we just said. But I'll continue my streak of the away wins. So I'll say a
All right.
Sampdoria victory. So due.
All right. Okay, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, all I was saying with that Tutino thing is that personally, I believe that the president or the owner bought him knowing that he had the possibility to resell it. That's all. Then I don't know if he made money or if it's on a loan and they had the possibility to buy it. I don't know. Okay. So we are done with today's predictions about round 5. Is there anything that you would like to add for today's episode and things
Not
that we should
much. I
be
mean,
highlighting?
man, I this is kind of backtracking a little bit, but
Sure.
I kind of explained about the crazy situation about Citarella, but can you explain the crazy situation with Soleri as goalkeeper in the Spezia match? Then
Good
he ended
question.
up scoring and then having to play goalkeeper. So what was all that about?
So basically, we already had all the we already played all the substitutions. So there wasn't the possibility to have new players coming on the pitch. And at the end of the game, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes away, I don't know how long it was because it was so heated and I was doing the live reactions that, you have a different perception of time. But anyhow, Sar, the goalkeeper, with un'uscita alta, so he basically jumped to anticipate the striker, and in falling down he really hurt himself. I don't know where exactly, but he broke his arm to the point that he had to have surgery the following day, and it's going to take him at least 2 to 3 months to be able to rejoin the team to train. So we lost him for a good chunk of the season, and it's a pity because he was already coming back from a very difficult injury and he was doing great. He was really performing even better than we had expected. So at that point, they kept some players on the field. They kept on calling substitutions, but we ran out of substitutions. So as soon as Soleri realized that the goalkeeper was actually injured and he could have continued playing, he went to the bench to get the gloves and the jersey from Mascardi. So for a moment, when I read Mascardi, because normally you put the goalkeeper jersey, but with the inside out, because it's not your name on the game on the jersey, and to show that you're not that player, basically. So when I read Mascardi, I said, "Oh my God, they actually did the substitution, and now they're gonna come after us, and they're gonna win the game." By some sort of recourse, like the one that you got going on with Pisa. Instead, Soleri knew that we didn't have any more substitutions, and promptly he went to the bench to get the gloves and the jersey from Mascardi, and he selected himself as goalkeeper because growing up, he played a little bit as a goalkeeper. But he was the hero of the day because he came in from the bench, he scored the equalizer goal, and then he saved the day by replacing the injured goalkeeper. So there was a new hero in town the following morning.
And then in the 90 plus 11th minute, Spezia ended up scoring from a corner, which was the last play of the game. So
they didn't even let the game restart from the midfield. We scored, they officialized the goal, and the game ended. It was poetry.
Oh, that must pandemonium there at the Pico. So, I mean, this was what I was talking about. You know, like from like past years, I think this was Spezia on the other end of this. You know,
exactly
a late goal or some crazy, goalkeeper situation. But maybe now this is now 2 home games where they've scored back in late succession, and has proven that they could win a game from after being, as you mentioned, a Frosinone game, a similar situation. They conceded first, they were losing.
The first half ended 1-0 for the away team. And even with Venezia at the last game of the last season, it was a comeback. I think this is really the mentality that Mr. Luca D'Angelo is bringing. Not only, it's good to see that the team, last season, we avoided relegation through the mentality that he brought on, getting rid of a few players that weren't really on the job. But this season, we can actually see an improvement even on the field by the way the team plays. They know where to find each other without even looking at each other. So it's good for us to see that it's not only mentality and heart, but there is also an improvement on the game. And that's what was more astonishing with the game with Cesena. Cesena just didn't let us play as we played previous game with Frosinone, with Cosenza, because of their rhythm, because of their athleticism. So Cesena is really a team to watch out for the rest of the season, because if they score in the first half of the game, and that's how they won the previous games, any team can really be in trouble against Cesena. So it's going to be an awesome Serie B season yet again.
Yeah, well, obviously it's still early, but if D'Angelo does get you guys to Serie A, I think you should definitely. He's worthy of building a statue outside the ground.
Indeed,
so
indeed, and hopefully he'll remain for more than one season. Should we make it to the promised land?
Well,
if he's going to leave, he's not going to leave the way that Italiano did. But anyhow, that's story for another time. What were you saying, Jake?
Well, yeah, like D'Angelo he has gone very close to Serie A. He went with Pisa. Right. He took them to 3rd place, and losing to the final against Monza, who the next match against Stropa's Monza, he was the coach of Monza, and now he's the coach of Cremonese. So it's kind of a rematch a little bit of there.
Indeed. I said it, that is his black sheep, basically. I just want to say hi and thank Nicolas again for his participation to our live today. And if there isn't anything else to add, thank you all for following us live, as I see you're doing right now. And for those that who are going to watch this as a video later on. And we'll see you on the next one. Right, Jake?
Yep, you could follow us, Cheat Couch USA on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube at Cheat Couch USA, and as well as our website, cheatthecouchusa.com for previews, news, everything that should keep you up to date. The Pisa appeal update, that's all. You could read all about that at cheatthecouchusa.com. So that's where you could find us.
Awesome. Thank you very much. As far as I am concerned, the main platform is Elia, the Italian guy, here on YouTube, as you can see on the screen. But we're also present on other social media, on Facebook, on TikTok, and Instagram. You can find us as Elia, the Italian guy, for personal development related content, and as Speziato for sport content, of course, around Spezia. Thank you very much, and we'll see you on the next live where we're going to be speaking Serie B.